Hi. So I thought today about talking about being psychic, really, and what it is, what we may need to consider or think about as the psychic plane is opening up for us. Okay. It actually really takes me back to um, when my father got sick. And um, he got sick, and it was a terminal illness. It took him a few years, and he passed. And I remember how much I used to meditate when I was with him. Um, it was a field that just there was so much openness at that time for me and for him, um, and because I'd done a lot of spiritual work, it was a gift, really, to be in my presence with him. But I want to share a couple things about this. So, this wasn't always the case. But there's a couple memories that are coming up, and I think that they might be kind of demonstrative of some of the things that are on my mind about the psychic realm and being in the psychic plane, and like how do we navigate it, really. Um, so being with somebody who was in distress, there is the giving that happens on the psychic plane, and there's also the tuning in that can happen that's not helpful on the psychic plane. So I'll give a couple examples to make this come to um, out of the abstract. So a couple examples is I used to meditate with him when I was in his physical presence, especially. I would meditate with him multiple times a day, really. Um, and one of the things was there were times that I recognized that I was tuning in deeply at a plane where I was in fertile ground, basically. I was in being. I was connected to my body. I was connected to the essence in my body, but I was connected first to being. It's like nourishing ground. More to elaborate on that at some point in the future. But there was something, see if you can follow me. There was something about being in fertile ground. And from that fertile ground, when I connected with him, I also was aware of the energies that he needed, in a way. Mostly it was love. It was connecting to the field of love, and it was a lot more than that. But just as an example, connecting to the field of love so that his spirit, his soul, his being, as he's going through his process, connects to fertile ground, nourishment, love. Really what he needed. for his journey in the moment, and also going forward to transitioning, which is a very scary process. So this was one example, is that I would connect within to something that was the ground of being. It was fertile, it was nourishing, it was something positive, something that he could tune into and receive, but, you know, without awareness, really, without consciousness that from his ego level that this was happening. Other times, and I would say this probably happened a handful of times or less, was sometimes I would meditate with him and I would go into the darker realms. And with the darkness, not just I'm going into my own darkness, it was true. How do I put this? It was not fertile ground. It was connecting to something, even if it was connected with him. To connect with that was not nourishment. It wasn't fertile. It was more the dark realm. Dark as in how do I put this? Sometimes when we go to the psychic, it does look dark. And it can be fertile dark, or it can be the dark realm as in like hell spaces, really. That's what I mean about the dark realm, the hell spaces. And my dad actually would never allow anybody to be around him, especially around going to sleep. He couldn't tolerate it. And when I meditated with him and I went to the fertile place, when I was connecting with him from a fertile place of being, he was good. I think it was really supportive for him when he was going to sleep. It was great. It was really great. When I went to the hell realms inside me, and it was, you know, I could plummet there, he would start to scream. It was like not the ground of being. Yes, whatever I may have been going to may have been true, but he would start to scream. It was not supportive. That was not supportive for him. And I think that's some of the things around when we have openings or we're cultivating a psychic abilities, really, or we've already cultivated them. One of the things to question is, which am I going to? Is it supportive for me to go into the hell realm? You know, is it? Is it really? Just a question to ask yourself. Is this supporting me? Is this supporting them? Because we can connect with others, but they need, in my experience, they need the ground of being there first. They need support for their beings, for their souls. And that comes from this, not from going into the hell realms. The other thing that happens is when we connect, how do we connect? I think in a way where we are opening up, feeling, sensing, knowing, and where is the connection intermixed with our own egos. I think this is when we open up on, again, when we open up, it usually comes in intermixed with our egos, and some of it is really true and real. Some of it is our interpretation of coming from maybe something true. Sometimes can really intermixed with our egos. Our egos, what we've experienced, where we are going. So we are not, we have to cultivate the suchness in our bodies, to know, to cultivate it, to recognize what is our body. The body is a really good vehicle to be in the suchness of things, to really feel, and to kind of, in my experience, untangling our own kind of ego, which may also be connected with our life experiences, with our wounds, our traumas, and how to untangle that so that we can really, and I don't know if there's a place that we get to where I'm just like, oh yeah, it's untangled, but it's an ongoing kind of, let's say, purification process where we are continuously more and more untangling our own ego interpretation, understanding from like the suchness of the unfolding that happens when we are embodied, when we feel, we sense, we get more and more, and we can really stabilize more, so that our more and more we're able to untangle our own ego, our own interpretations from what we're picking up. As I mentioned, I think this is always, I think this is a continual process, but many times we have to develop it. And there's a really important thing, which is being in the suchness of the body. And sometimes we forget that piece, or we don't want to sometimes even do that piece, because sometimes it can just flow. And with the body, it's a little bit, it can feel a little bit slower, especially in the beginning. So there's more to come on this, really more to come. That there's many things to really integrate, really, as I mentioned, the suchness of the body, the capacity to allow it to unravel within us, to be known, to go to a place which is the ground, fertile ground, nourishing ground of our beings, to connect from that place. I think this is some of the things to think about, and really to develop, really, I would say. And this process, I'll just say, is even to cultivate this ground of being in our bodies, and to go to that plane where it's like nourishing, supportive, going to being, going to fertile land inside. We're going to be transforming ourselves. We have to get out of our egos. We have to not get out of our egos, which is a process anyway that we're trying to do, but we have to kind of do our own wounds, issues, hurts. We will be also working on them in the process. As I mentioned, more to come. But if you can, if you're not already doing this, sense your body. There's so much inside our bodies, so much that is happening, not just on the surface, not just in the tensions or the openness, but really deep inside our bodies. Deep inside our bodies, since we cultivate awareness, suchness of knowing. Yeah, more to come. I just wanted to give you some thoughts to kind of reflect on, to see where am I, what am I doing, how is this affecting me, how might I be affecting others. Is there a way to utilize this in the goodness of your heart, for the goodness of others, and to really be of benefit when this opens up?